Good evening and welcome to the Late Late Show with me, Irish Tommy. As you can see from the thumbnail, we're going to be getting into the Declan Rice question. I know it'll be spoken about a lot between now and the end of October when we play Arsenal at home in the Carabao Cup fourth round, or last 16, whatever you want to call it. It was inevitable this was going to happen at some point. We didn't really think it would be this early, but it is what it is. And all of this, of course, predicated on Declan Rice actually playing in that game. You would imagine, big London derby in the cup like that Arteta will put out a very strong side. But whether that will include Rice, we'll wait and see. I suspect he will play. I think he will line out against us. They paid a lot of money for him, and so they'll want to progress into the quarterfinals. So I do think we'll see Declan Rice from the start in that game. And I think there are a lot of mixed views among the fan base about Declan Rice. And I can understand all sides of it, to be completely honest. I think had he joined Man City and not Arsenal, this would not be a topic really of discussion. I think we'd kind of welcome him back and he'd get a good reception back at the Bowl. The fact he joined Arsenal has left a bitter taste in a lot of fans' mouths for obvious reasons that I don't need to get into. And also some of the things he said have rubbed some people up the wrong way. I'm not one of them, frankly. I'll give my views on the whole Declan Rice thing, and then I'll get into the live chat here. So if you can post in the live chat, please do, and let me know your thoughts on Declan Rice. I hold no grudges against him. I have no particular ill will towards him or bad feelings, to be honest. The fact is that since he broke into the first team at 18 years of age, I've really liked him a lot. Kind of idolized him in a way, not to the same degree as some other past hammers, but he was an academy product. Broke into our first team. We watched him grow. We watched him, a centre back, really become just an amazing defensive midfielder, and then we watched him kind of transition, or at least begin his transition into becoming a little bit more of a box-to-box midfielder for us. More driving runs forward, getting up and down the pitch. I mean, his passing just sensational. And so for me, it was a joy to watch because as West Ham fans, we've always had that affinity with our academy products. Some of them have turned sour, obviously, Ferdinand, Lampard, most recently, I guess, Defoe as well, caused a stir when he put a transfer request in the day after we got relegated and went to Tottenham. And this one could go the same way, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel to me like as much of the fan base have kind of turned on Declan Rice. I know a substantial amount have. I'm not one of them. I haven't turned on him. But equally, I'm not still in full praise of him. I have basically become indifferent to Declan Rice because he just doesn't play for West Ham anymore. So what Declan Rice does from as soon as he left the club, what he does from here on in is of absolutely no interest to me. When he returns in that Carabao Cup game, now obviously I live in Ireland, so I can't get to all the games. But if I were in the stadium, I wouldn't be booing him, and I wouldn't be applauding him. I would be as indifferent to him as I am to Martin Odegaard. He's just an Arsenal player who's playing against us on the night. So I won't take much notice, frankly. I think that's probably the healthiest kind of outlook to have on it. I don't think there's much point in like hanging on to any kind of dislike or hatred or whatever you want to call it. It's pointless, and it won't change anything anyway. at the end of the day, I do still hold a certain amount of respect for Declan Rice because, he captained us to a trophy, and he's the first player in a very long time that we can say that about. He captained us to a major moment in our club's history. And to be fair, even though he knew and we knew a long way out that he would move on in the summer of 2023, he continued to give 100% effort in every game that he played for us. And I guess, at the end of the day, that's all you can really ask of from a player. He'll have had his own reasons why he wanted to stay in London and why he wanted to join Arsenal. And look, at the end of the day, he's entitled to them. If Arteta was the guy who really impressed him and sold him the project at Arsenal, then so be it. I'm not going to lose a wink of sleep over it. And like I say, when he plays against us at the Bowl in the Carabao Cup, as I believe he will, he'll just be another Arsenal player. I'll just hope, like all the other Arsenal players, that he's on the losing side on the night. It'll be helpful if he's piss poor on the night, of course, because he is a fantastic player. And the only really annoying thing for me, actually, apart from the Arsenal fans, but they're fucking insufferable anyway. That's just Arsenal fans year in, year out. The annoying thing to me is now that he's doing for Arsenal what he did at West Ham. Now all of a sudden, everyone's waxing lyrical about Declan Rice and his performances and what a top player he is. We already knew he was a top player. He did that for us week in, week out. A bad game for Declan Rice was like a 7 out of 10 at West Ham. He dominated. I mean, we played Arsenal at the Bowl last season and he dominated Partey. He just took control of that midfield. He was miles better than their midfield in that game when we were 2-0 down early doors and came back to draw 2-2. And again, we should have won in the end. He was unbelievable. And yet you still had people having doubts about him. But, he plays 3 or 4 games for Arsenal and excels. And all of a sudden it's, Declan Rice, best DM in the world. That's the thing that kind of pissed me off more than anything, that he didn't get that credit when he was playing at West Ham because he was playing at West Ham. Even when he was dominating Casemiro or dominating Partey, he still wasn't getting the credit he deserved while he was at West Ham. But now he's getting it because he's at the fashionable North London club. So that's an annoyance to me. But Declan Rice moving there isn't so much. And I know there'll be some of you watching this right now who vehemently disagree. And again, I get it. I get that completely. And I definitely want to hear from you as to why you feel much more strongly about this. Personally, and I'll be honest about this, when he returns with Arsenal, whether it is in the Carabao Cup at the end of October or whether it's in the Premier League game, I don't know when we play Arsenal at home off the top of my head. But whenever he makes his first appearance for Arsenal at the Bowl against us, I think the best thing that we can do as a fan base is to show indifference. I didn't just not for him, just for ourselves. Like if his name is called out on the tannoy and there's just a huge chorus of boos, I'll be honest, I don't think that's a great look for us as a fan base. It makes us look kind of bitter and a bit petty, in my opinion. That we're that affected by the fact that Declan Rice joined Arsenal, and that we're all bent out of shape about it. Because you get the Arsenal fans in on social media talking about, oh, look how sickened West Ham are that Rice came to Arsenal, and look at them still crying about the fact that Declan Rice joined Arsenal. And I don't think it's a good look. Equally, I don't think we should be applauding him. He got enough praise and applause and adoration while he was here to last him a lifetime. Something that I'm sure he will absolutely never forget. Absolutely never forget. We don't need to be doing it while he's at playing against us for another club, certainly not a London rival. I would like there to be just complete indifference when his name gets called out. No applause, no boos. He's just another Arsenal player. We concentrate on our players and what we're doing. We give the adoration to the players that are here right now. We back the players that are here right now. Once a player leaves West Ham, cheerio. Thanks for your service. Good, bad, or indifferent. Thanks for your efforts. But once you've left West Ham, you have left West Ham, and that's it. We don't think about you anymore, with some exceptions. Of course, there are certain players that will always hold in very high regard. Paulo Di Canio, for example, I watched his interview the other night with Simon Jordan. Fantastic interview. It's on YouTube if you haven't seen it. There's a new series organised by William Hill Bookmakers, where Simon Jordan is interviewing footballers. His very first one is with Paulo Di Canio. It's on YouTube. It's an hour long. You can watch it if you haven't already. Fantastic interview. Players like that who leave, we still idolise, we still love, and deservedly so. I don't think Rice will be one of those, which is fine too. But I think indifference is the way to go here. So I'm going to get into the chat. I just want to, actually, I'm going to take a sip of tea first because I don't want to go cold. The Sinead was nice enough to make it for me, so be rude. So let's get in the comments, because I'm sure, I imagine this will probably be a mixed bag. John Murdoch, thanks for joining me. He did his best while being paid by West Ham. He's an arse now. Don't treat him any differently to any other player from visiting team. Let's move on. No hard feelings, no high esteem. Exactly, basically what I've just been saying. So myself and John at least are on the same page. Mark Stoner, so I have to move this. Let's parade our European trophy when they come to us. Rice can celebrate with us. Yeah, that would be funny. Shane Maughan, for me, it's the way his attitude changed when he left. So treat him like any other arse. Hopefully Alvarez keeps him in his pocket. Yeah, I mean, there's a good point there. I mean, I did mention it at the beginning that there were certain comments that he made that rubbed West Ham fans up the wrong way. I don't tend to get too bent out of shape about them. I don't think he said anything too bad. I thought the comment about he didn't know football until he went to Arsenal, that's a silly comment. I don't know what he was thinking about when he said that. It's a kind of a ridiculous thing to say. I think what he's probably feeling is that the way Arsenal play football, the way they pass the ball and move it, it's a much more progressive, much more attacking style of play rather than the kind of low block, park the bus kind of approach that Moyes takes to most games. I think he probably is just enjoying that way of playing football a lot better, and I think that's essentially what he was trying to say, and I don't really blame him for that. Arsenal are a lot easier on the eye than we are. But yeah, I think, look, he's just joined a new club. He wants to ingratiate himself to the fan base. He wants to fit in. He wants to say the right things and get them on side and start to fit in with his new club. So, to be honest, I just don't. I'm sure there's been loads of players that have joined West Ham and have immediately said very nice things about West Ham and about West Ham fans and etc. etc. And I don't think they mean it necessarily as a slight on their old club so much. I think maybe he misspeaks every once in a while, but I don't think there's any malice in it from Rice. I don't believe that Rice feels any malice towards West Ham whatsoever. Why are the fans? Why would he? He had an amazing time here, and I have no doubt that Declan Rice will always love West Ham and always have us in his heart and always be very, very grateful for what this club has done for him and what it's meant. And I think he will always, always cherish the fact that he captained West Ham. I think he'll always be proud of it. And I think he'll always cherish the fact that he captained West Ham to her first major trophy since 1980. I do think that means a lot to him. But when you join a new club, I think you've got to start saying the right things about them. It's just the way it goes. even if he has misspoke maybe a couple of times and hasn't maybe said things as well as he might have. Yeah, again, stuff like that, I don't get too bent out of shape. I know some fans kind of rubs them up the wrong way, particularly if I think there's probably a lot of fans as well that maybe have a particular dislike of Arsenal. Like, I've never really had a strong dislike of Arsenal other than their London rivals, and I want to beat the shit out of them every time we play them. But I've always had a much stronger. No, I'm not talking about Arsenal fans. A lot of them are fucking insufferable, and I can't stand them. But Arsenal itself as a club, I would say I have never felt as strongly about as I do about Tottenham and Chelsea. Tottenham and Chelsea are two clubs I just fucking cannot stand, or their fans, just the whole thing, more so than Arsenal. Even though I do dislike a lot of the Arsenal fans, that they're fucking shitbags. Usual, welcome, mate. Thanks for joining. I think the supporters would have welcomed him back had he signed for Man City instead of them wanker arsehole. Yeah, obviously, like I said, that rubbed a lot of fans up the wrong way. The fact that he went to another London team. Happy Hammerette is in. How are you? Good to see you, sweetie. Respect was shown when he played for us. Now another Prem London side. I think he deserves FA. Yeah, fine. You don't have to respect him. That's obviously your own decision. I respect what he did for us. Like I said, him captaining us to a major trophy is a huge thing. So I respect what he did at West Ham. But as I said, as soon as he walked out the door, that's it. I'm completely indifferent to Declan Rice's career from here on out. Happy again, just the next player now. Will he show us respect while trying to knock us out of the cup? They're not. They're. Yeah, you can do both. I mean, look, he's an Arsenal player. He's going to try his best for them. I mean, for example, like if he were to score against us in that game, like I honestly, hand on heart, I don't believe he'd go off on some kind of wild celebration. I think it would be very muted. I think he'd receive his teammates' congratulations and all that, but I don't think there's going to be any running about or knee sliding or anything like that. I actually do think he has a lot of love and respect for West Ham, and I think you would see that. He'll still give his best for Arsenal. He has to. I mean, they pay his wages. He's an Arsenal player. He has to try his best for them. But I do think he'll be respectful. Now, look, if he gets a horrible reception, like a really bad reception, whether that would change his attitude, I don't know. But I think all things being equal, I don't think he will show us disrespect, because I don't think he feels any disrespect towards West Ham. John, 100% just another player better available. Yeah. There's some people agreeing with each other. I don't want to debate this going for a pigs here. Fair enough. Enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it. The only way to, it's interesting that you referred to him as number 41 now. Perhaps that says everything. I'm not sure who you're talking to. I've never referred to him as number 41. I call him by his name. I think there are other people. I know what you mean. There are other people. I think, including on this network. Is it Russ and Anton? I think just call him number 41, and there's others as well. But I call him Declan Rice. So, again, I don't want to get too petty about the whole thing. It's not in my nature, And to be honest, I think the whole, people calling him number 41, Anton or Russ, I think is a bit more tongue in cheek, really, than anything serious. The West Ham Massive is in. Good evening. Nice to see you, mate. Steve Brown in the house. Even Hammers just refers to this geezer as number 41 now. If he turns up to the Popcorn Bowl, Alvarez to smash him. Alvarez is probably going to smash a lot of people this season. If Rice happens to be one of them, so be it. I'm all about Alvarez now because he's a West Ham player. The West Ham Massive saying, I will give him a respectful clap, but that's about it, really. After that, it's just the next player. Fair enough, yeah. Joel Monday, I think sometimes West Ham fans are like a salty ex with regards to Rice. That's how some of it comes across. To me, anyway, some of it, and it certainly has that outward appearance. I think if people are getting too pressed about it, and it comes across, like I say, as maybe a little bit petty and a little bit salty, and it's fine if you feel that way, but I think when you outwardly demonstrate it, particularly at a match, if he gets a huge boo around the stadium, it just comes across a bit kind of, I don't know, a bit ick, doesn't it? It's just another stick for Arsenal fans to kind of beat us with and take the piss out of us. Look how salty all the West Ham fans are. It's hilarious. Like, they still haven't gotten over the fact that we took Rice away from them. And don't give Arsenal fans all something to brag about, please. Tommy, happy. Paul Evans, even Tommy really need to win this one. Yeah, I mean, badly want to win this. Badly want to win it. First and foremost for West Ham, because I really want us to be in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. That would be huge. It's a winnable trophy for us. It's still difficult to win. Obviously, there's still some very good sides in there. But we're in with a shout in the Carabao Cup. We've got a real chance to win that, and I do believe David Moyes will take this competition very seriously, and really go out and try to win this. Plus, it's always fantastic when you can knock a London rival out of a cup. Bragging rights for a little bit, which is good. Darren Rose says, no player is bigger than the football club. Players come and go. Us fans will always be there. Come on, you orange. Yeah, and that's the thing. Just the nature of the beast. Players come and go under various circumstances. Some players we just release. There's that handshake on the way out saying, look, thanks very much. And, you've been great and best of luck. And other players, then you've got like Arnautovic and Payet, who leave under a big cloud and will always be considered kind of snakes. But yeah, look, players come and go. Where is it? All that matters? That matters, and we matter. This club and us fans, because they're the two constants. There's always West Ham, and there's always the fan base. And players, fuck them, they come and go. I don't care. Like I said, completely indifferent to Rice now. He's just another Arsenal player. Don't care. I won't be expending energy on Declan Rice anymore. Let's put it that way. Happy says, you can still respect him as a footballer, of course, but respect him when he was back at the LS trying to fuck us. Not for me, thanks. Oh, no, you don't have to show him respect. Like I said, he's just another Arsenal player. I wouldn't ask you to show loads of respect to Saka or Odegaard or Martinelli or whoever. You certainly don't have to do that with Rice. He's just another Arsenal player. Now, whether you want to boo him or look, if you want to give him shit all game, give him shit all game. I don't care. But I just wouldn't be bothered, to be honest. I just don't care about Declan Rice anymore. No boos and clapping, just avoid. Cannot see Arteta playing him anyway. I don't know. I mean, look, if he's an Arsenal player, you're gonna have to play him. You know what I mean? I think, if Arteta is serious about winning the game, he'll want Rice on the pitch. The fact that it's his first game back at the LS, I mean, so what, really? He's going to have to play against us at some point. So, may as well be now. Plus, Rice will probably tell me he wants to play. You say, look, even if I'm going to get abuse, I still want to play. He'll probably feel he can handle it anyway. So, what is that? Rarney Bubble? I was going to say Barney. Rarney Bubble. Interesting name. Let's play on Barney Rubble. Thanks, Sinead. That one went over my head. Let's play on Barney Rubble. Okay. He was a great servant, gave everything when he pulled on the shirt. He's moved on now. Well done, Doc. Thanks for your service. End of story. I don't worship him. I'm not hung up because he's gone. Yeah, I think that's a healthy attitude. I really do. Happy Hammer it. Holding on to bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer from it. Yeah, it is. Obviously, you've just cracked open a fucking fortune cookie. She's probably out having a Vindaloo or something, just cracked open a fortune cookie or one of those wisdom fucking things and pull that out. But yeah, it is absolutely correct, Happy. Yeah, it's pointless. Doesn't hurt Declan Rice, doesn't hurt the Arsenal fan base, and kind of makes us just look a bit silly, I think. But um, uh, Paul Houston says Deck gave his all till the end. Sad to go London rivals though when he was our captain. Yeah. And Hammerette again back in. He had his own reasons. Let's not forget he chose to leave in January when we were fighting to stay on the league, but respect. Rice, that's Payet and Arnautovic. Did they both go? Arnautovic was at end of season. I know Payet left in January, but did Payet leave January as well? Did he force his way out in January as well? He may have. I thought it was end of it. No, he was end of the season. Remember, fucking Payet. He took a new contract with more money, and then still left. Do you know what I mean? Like that's fucking snake shit, man. Fuck that, dude. Joel Mundy, Rice, we're reading too much into trophies, ambition. He just saw something exciting in the Arsenal team. He can play for whichever club he feels like. Let's be like Ajax and wish him well. Yeah, well, I'm like I say, if you want to wish him well, of course, absolutely fine. I'm sure there are people in the fan base who still very much like Declan Rice and very much appreciate what he did, and do wish him well. And again, that's fine. However you feel about it is fine, honestly. I'm just completely indifferent to the rest of his career now. Once he's not at West Ham, I don't care. Sorry, this debate irks me big time. Yes, great player. Yes, great at this, but now it's just another player in another side who deserves sweet FA. Well, yeah, exactly. I just indifference. Like how long are we going to be like pressed about Declan Rice? Really? Like, let's move on for fuck's sake. Like, he's at a different club now. Let's just move on. Let's concentrate on the players that are here. Idolize some of those instead. And get behind them. Fuck Declan Rice. He's at Arsenal. In life for recent events, I'm not sure Ajax is the best example. Yeah, we've been cleaning Ajax out. They're not having a good time now, are they? Ajax in the league? I think they're struggling because we took Kudus and Alvarez. I don't know if they lost other top players this summer to other clubs, but I don't think they're having a good time. Is it Boxing Day? We play Arsenal on Boxing Day at our place. All right, interesting. John Mundy, it's only the embarrassing Arsenal fans that make us salty about his move. Yeah, I suspect that there's something to that, Joel, because I think it's the Arsenal fans that rub us up the wrong way more than Rice. I think it's that fan base. They're fucking insufferable, some of them. Now, look, I'm sure there's absolutely decent Arsenal fans who are not like that and who are pretty sound. Some of you may know some Arsenal fans who are decent people, and sound and all that. But there is absolutely a large section of the Arsenal fan base that is absolutely fucking insufferable. West Ham says, agreed, Tom. Randy Bubble, everyone should be more Tommy. Happy says, exactly 100 Tommy. We showed him all the admiration when he was wearing claret and blue. What is more for us now? He doesn't deserve any more admiration for us now. We admired him when he was here. We treated him unbelievably well as a fan base, supported him incredibly, which is what he deserved when he was here. And to be fair, he played his heart out for us every time he played, right to the finish. But it's over now. Dominic, can we cheer Declan the person separate from Arsenal, the club? Not at the bowl when he's in an Arsenal shirt. No, not at the bowl. You can't go cheering the fucking dude at the bowl when he's wearing an Arsenal shirt. I'm sorry. He's an opponent. Next time he plays the bowl, he's an opponent. He plays for the other team, and it's a London derby. And fuck Arsenal, frankly. I hope we smash the fucking shit out of them. Hope we embarrass them. And that's regardless of whether Declan Rice plays or not. Yeah, Tevez is a good example, of a player that did move on, went to Man United, but went with our best wishes, and to be fair, when he came back, he got a fabulous reception, and And even in the warm-up, this is at Upton Park, of course, in the warm-up, he turned to the West Ham fans and gave us the crossed hammers while he was warming up for Man U at the game. And so, yeah, that was actually quite nice. It's nice when that happens, when you can kind of have a good feeling between a player and a club like that. Sebron, I predict a mixed reaction would be a boo by, if I was there, a new Panto villain. Fair enough. Like, you do what you want to do. You pay your money. You're entitled to feel however you want. If you want to boo him for 90 minutes, absolutely feel free to boo him for 90 minutes. Ludo, yeah, of course, Ludo. Actually, is there like a player who's not like a proper club like legend or idol, like that every one in the fan base loves? Say like Ginge, right? We all love Ginge, right? So it's nothing really to say, oh, Ginger Pele, ledge, fucking love the dude. Put in the chat or in the comment section after, if you're watching this back, is there a player who's maybe not thought of by the fan base as a whole in that way, but that you just absolutely fucking loved? Let me know. Hammerat saying, when he retires, we may well look back and have a level of respect for him, but not now. 3 months after he left us to better himself. Non-bitterly wrote, obviously. Yeah, fair enough. Look, as long as he's playing for an opponent against us, then he gets the same treatment as any other opponent, to be honest. Christian Daly. Christian Daly with his, to be fair, he had those fabulous curly locks, bastard. Have we all got our Tevez masks ready? Yeah, that was another one. Like, it's the I think that's kind of died down, to be honest. The whole Sheffield United Tevez thing. I haven't really heard much about it all week, apart from some tongue-in-cheek stuff. I think we're all kind of over that now, aren't we? I think Sheffield United fans are over it, and we're over it, and at some point you gotta just let it go. But I won't be surprised, Hammerat. Let's put it that way. If there's one or two Tevez masks in the crowd, some people have still got them from the last time. I'm guessing, so they might break them out for the occasion. Who knows? Fair play to them if they do. It's a bit of banter, isn't it? Really. The only way to Essex says, disappointment is the overriding feeling most, if not all of us are experiencing, and that disappointment can manifest with different people in different ways. Most can be justified. Yeah, look, people react in different ways, I guess, depending on your personality. And it's fine. Like, there's no right or wrong way, really. Apart from, something like really over the top that we're all like, oh, it's a bit much. But yeah, if people want to boo him, they can boo him. I don't care. People want to give him a little applause for what he did while he was here, for captaining us to a trophy. Okay, fine. If you want to do that once, but only once, please. And if others are like me, just completely indifferent and don't react to his name being announced whatsoever, or don't react every time he gets the pass, it's all fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that deep. Nothing's going to happen either way, whether he gets booed or applauded or gets silenced. It won't change anything, really, and it doesn't really mean that much. Rice will crumble. I hope so. I hope they all crumble. I'd love to get into the quarterfinals. Happy that, in my opinion, regardless of player stature, etc., Arsenal coming here to knock us out the cup, give one of their better players an applaud is ludicrous. Yeah, I think given that it's a cup, last 16 of the cup, big London derby against Arsenal, I think we should be making the atmosphere as difficult as possible for Arsenal and as good as possible, as uplifting as possible for our players. We'll have a full house, obviously. And, let's crank up that volume. Let's really get behind the players and give plenty of shit to Arsenal, frankly. Apologies, no more cheers, no more tears, Declan Rice, no more cheers, no more cheers. Yeah, fair enough. Nice play on words there. Well done, mate. Let's be honest, Arteta, even though he's insufferable, is a more sophisticated manager than Moyes. That's why he moved, and you can't blame a player for enjoying it. No, I mean, look, it's a. I think players enjoy playing that way more than they do parking the bus. Let's be honest. It is a much more enjoyable way for the players to play. So yeah, it's what can you say? Him leaving has made us stronger. Need to win to shut up their fan base. Yeah, that's the big thing for me. I just like seeing Arsenal fans in meltdown. Frankly, when they get fucking turned over by us, I just want to see them in outside, doing their AFTV bullshit and screaming and shouting and talking about Arteta out. They're a bit thick. Some of those lads are very reactionary. Joel definitely, but that does that sort of respect? Again, I guess that's the question. It depends on the person, doesn't it? Happy. Some say yes, some say no. Rowney saying, "Bang on Paul. We need to stick to their fans." Spuds and Millwall went for me, says Happy. Yeah, I mean, look. Obviously, the Millwall one is obvious. I'm old enough to remember some of the kind of the tail end of the good old days of that rivalry. Witnessed it myself at Upton Park when I was kind of my kind of early mid teens. Yeah, that was pretty tasty, and that is they probably are my number one actually, Millwall. But it's just the fact that I didn't mention because we just never can play them. I mean, if Millwall were in the Prem or we were in the Championship and playing each other kind of every season, then yeah, obviously that would be kind of in our minds a lot more that rivalry. But that is a massive one. It's the big one. It's still Millwall. Let's be honest. I mean, every time there's a cup draw and we know ourselves in Millwall are in the cup draw, we're all kind of waiting with bated breath just to see if it comes out as Millwall. That's massive. There's probably a lot of younger fans who never really experienced the proper West Ham Millwall rivalry and just how vitriolic and hate filled it was. And it's still under the surface, it hasn't gone away. I think if we were playing them, it would come right back up to the surface. It's really tasty, that one. Joel, I respect Declan for his work ethic and everything. He gave us everything while he was here. He did. He can't be accused of not giving his all for the club. It's one thing you cannot say about him. Let's have another 1980 Cup final. Can you imagine West Ham Arsenal in the FA Cup final? That would be unbelievable. This time it would be probably a Souček header instead of a Brooking one to win it, but we'll take it. Raise the roof when they announced the players we bought with the money from his sale. Yeah. I think it's true. That we are a better all-round team because of the players we were able to bring in with the Rice money, and I do think we invested it well. I do think we're a more rounded team now. West Ham says he was our best player for 5 years. He wasn't a Hammer growing up, but learned to love us. He was effectively our captain 3 seasons, as well as 3-time Hammer of the Year. He lifted the Euro trophy in his last. Yeah, look, he's done bits. Let's be honest, he has done bits. KPWHU saying, why would anyone clap him there in the way of us trying to win another trophy? I want to swipe the floor with him and his team. I can also see Alvarez handing his arse to him. Yeah, I agree. I think we have to make that as hostile as possible for Arsenal, all of them, their fans and their team. And for Arteta, who's a fucking arsehole. So we got over 100 million with that money. We now look, just what I just said. We look at a better all-round team. He scored the last time we beat Ars. Let's hope he does that again for us. News update: West Ham are massive, still massive. Declan will never captain any other team to a European trophy. He will never ever forget that feeling he felt lifting trophy as West Ham captain. No, I don't think anybody who was there that night, fans or players or will ever forget that. It was an amazing thing. Respect but not deference, absolutely. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go. Oh, we've got a Geordie in the house. Speaking of Geordies, I'm coming over Saturday week. I'm going to be there for the Newcastle game. I'm going to be at the match. So if any of you see me there, feel free to come say hi and probably call me names or whatever it is. Whatever you're going to do, I can take it. But yeah, if you see me there, come and say hi. Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah, you guys kind of stuffed the living shit out of Sheffield United last week. 8 goals. Was it like 7 different goal scorers? 8 goals. I'm going to get to the. Stay with us. I'm going to get to the Sheffield United game actually in a little while. Unfortunately, and rightly or wrongly, Declan Rice equates to disappointment with me now, and that's the fact I even find more disappointing. Yeah, it is a pity he went to Arsenal. It really is. Rice OG would 1-0 with Declan's hammer ringing his ear. That'd be hilarious. Not be welcoming back. He's done me over twice now. Coming around, coming you boys in green. Yeah, it's tough for us Irish people. We've had to deal with this twice with Declan Rice now. As long as he doesn't kiss the Arsenal badge in front, it's all lots of fun. Time to move on. Yeah, as long as he doesn't, stick the boot in. Oh yes, of course, Gatesy. That's your new chat. Yeah, listen. Check out Gatesy's back. He took a sabbatical, and the new show is the West Ham Massive. So Gatesy's also always an interesting watch. So absolutely go and check that out. Also, Gatesy, just let me know if you want to pop on. I can shoot you a link if you want to come on and have a chat about all things West Ham. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll shoot you a link, and we get you on. Hammer it. What have we got? Tommy, did you see the links we've had to that left-footed centre-back urinator? Yeah, I've seen the links, but to be honest, I think he's piss poor. So I'm hoping that we're not going to sign him. I'd be. I would much prefer the lad. Who's he with? Is it Borussia Mönchengladbach? I just think he's a better player. The Helmut Shiner. I'd much rather sign him, to be honest. So, but funny. Actually, like some of you, if you've got really good, like silly names, like put them in the chat, because I'm very childish about this stuff. Very childish. I love these names. Urinator. Like that could be somebody. That could be somebody. So, yeah. So okay, let's get on to the cup during the week. Lincoln made hard work of it. But look, to be honest, I know there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's Lincoln. Why do you make it so difficult?" And to be honest, like when it comes to these games, like you're not always going to go to these teams and win 4 and 5-0. I mean, just because they're in League One or League Two or whatever doesn't mean you're going to go there and stuff them. Even if on paper you've got a much better team on the pitch, you don't have the right to go there and just piss all over them. You just don't. These teams are still professional teams. They're still professional footballers. They're still going to be. They're they're still going to be organised. They're going to be up for it because I mean they just these are the only times they get an opportunity to play a Premier League team. They're at home, fan base are up for it. It's good atmosphere, and so you're not always going to go there and put in a top class performance. Also, you're putting out a team that don't play together week in week out, so you often lose a bit of the fluidity that you would normally have in a Premier League game. These players just don't play together. These 11 don't play together pretty much ever. A lot of changes to the team, and so you're going to be a little bit disjointed. So you're probably not going to be at your best as a unit. So I don't get too bent out of shape. The only way I get bent out of shape is if we fucking lose the game. And then obviously you're bent out of shape because you played poorly and lost. And you're out the cup, and that's an annoyance. However you go out the cup is a fucking annoyance. So yeah, I actually don't mind that much. Like in games like that, I just think just go up there, we'll put out our kind of B team, as it were. Just make sure you get the win, like by hook or by crook. Just get the win, get out of there. Into the next round and move on from there. And these teams are going to fight you all the way. They don't want to get stuffed. They don't want to get embarrassed. They want to have a go at you and see if they can take your scalp. I mean, it's a huge deal for them. For if they'd have been able to beat us at home, I mean, it just would have been. That makes their whole year as a group of players. To be able to say, oh, we knocked West Ham out the cup, or we knocked Villa out the cup, or whoever it is. It's a huge deal for them, and they're always going to put in a shift. And for me, it's just get the win and get out of there. Hopefully you got no injuries. You got the win. You're in the next round. I don't get hung up too much on the performance. I'm only pissed off if we lose the game. Other than that, I'm pretty happy if we're in the pot for the next round, which of course we are in a huge game. Richard B, my old bud, how you keeping, lad? Good to see you. KPWHU saying Lincoln, excuse me, Lincoln fought really hard, difficult playing conditions, especially second half. Dean and Caduce best on show for me. Yeah, it was great for them to get the minutes, and we'll come on to those players actually again very shortly. Because we're going to move on to the Sheffield United game. I'm just scrolling back. Excuse me for a second. I just want to make sure. Oh, okay. So 1 second, mate. I'm going to pop you on the link because Gates is going to join us, and we'll have a chat about Sheffield United. Let me just copy it. And so if you can forgive me for a minute, folks. 1 second there. Okay, Gatesy, that's going to be popped onto you in a minute, mate. So what I'll do is I'll wait until Gatesy gets here before we start talking about Sheffield United. So Joel and Lincoln, they played the strongest team and we played the B team. Tough game, but we won and got some minutes into fringe players. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I say, with the Cups, just win it. Those games are always a little bit tricky, aren't they? Sorry, now let's see what else we got here. Fab also had a great game. So I you know what? I actually haven't even gotten around to looking at the highlights yet. It was annoying that we couldn't see it. West Ham of old would have lost to Lincoln away. Luton away, not my biggest fan, but to his credit, his record against these sides opponents pretty good. Yeah, we tend not to lose those games anymore, which is fantastic. Oh, that was feedback. And Mark Watson, how about the one testicle spread out Moscow midfielder over Balakov? Over Balakov. Yeah, a bit one-paced. So I'm not sure about him. Agree, Andrew doesn't make the straight through any better, to be honest, though. So we'll have Gatesy on in a second. So what I want to hear from you, actually, guys, is your lineup. What would be your lineup? I'll read out your lineups if you put them in and take the time. What would be your 11 for the Sheffield United game? And pop in the formation first, so I understand. Now, some of it will be obvious, but pop in the formation just so I understand kind of an idea of where you're putting everybody. What 11? What about the German defensive mid, Huenis? Gates saying, did you send it in WhatsApp? Yes. What was WhatsApp? Yes, Gatesy. It's in WhatsApp, mate. So click on your WhatsApp and you should see it there. Fab. Okay. Yeah, did you see actually on the Kimbo? Fuck off, Kimbo. You know, I've got lazy I've got lazy eyelids. That's what it is. What are you smoking your vape, mate? I swear to God, it's just menthol. That's all it is menthol, and it's like only like 6 milligrams of nicotine. So it's probably just because it's 10 to 11. Been up since this morning, so yeah, but I'm probably just a little. It depends where I'm looking too, because like when I'm looking here, I'm not looking like directly like that at the actual camera there. So I'm actually looking down a little bit from your perspective, so it looks like my eyes are kind of like drooped. Whereas if I look like directly at it, it's like I'm more normal looking. So that's all in there. I swear it's just mental. Happy says, what I want to see is bone up top, Corney left. This is interesting, Happy. Bowen up top, Corney left, Kudus right, and Paqueta midfield. I don't know about fucking Corney. I don't know about Corney. Maybe he needs a run. I don't know. But Benny ain't been great, to be honest. Benny ain't been great. So it's time to welcome our old mate. How you doing, me old mate?
I'm all right, old chap. I'm all right. How about yourself?
Good now. Thanks for popping on.
No, you're more than welcome. I appreciate the invite, mate. I'll just
Right,
put my phone on the do not disturb, just in case.
Yeah, no worries. I was about to pop you on when your missus was giving you a little kiss, so I thought I better hang tough for a minute, not to embarrass you in front of everyone.
Wouldn't be the first time, let's be completely honest.
Yeah. So, but before we get into all things West Ham, why don't you tell us about your new YouTube channel, mate, and what it's all about?
If I must. Basically, it's called The West Ham Massive. I'll tell you what I'll do, because just in case there's anybody that is even sort of vaguely interested in maybe sort of giving us a subscribe. We're not a big channel. We've only been going a couple of weeks, and you know it's a long, hard slog, as you would probably know, mate. But we've been going a couple of weeks. It's mainly myself and my brothers sort of popped up on a couple of streams to help us out and whatever. And yeah, we're just doing our own thing. And yeah, I'm just sort of trying to find the link, and I'll pop it in the chat if anyone wants to sort of click on it, do whatever. Hang on. Where?
Yeah, by all means, pop the link in the chat and people can go check it out. Yeah.
I'll just sort of put it on YouTube. Hang on a sec. I've just got to find a few things. But yeah, no, it's going all right. I mean, it's busy. We did a couple of recordings. We couldn't do it live because we was in Lille last week. We was watching the England game against Chile, the mighty rugby nation known as Chile. We went there last week. It was good. We actually turned up. We had seats in the executive box, if you please, which was a bit of a shock. We walked in. We weren't expecting. My brother booked the tickets, and we walked in, and it was like, fucking hell, this is a bit special. So,
Yeah.
but I've just popped the link to the channel in the live chat. So if anybody wants to click the link and give a subscribe, they're more than welcome. And if they decide not to, not a problem. It's all good.
Who were Chile playing?
England in the Rugby World Cup.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a nice experience, as I say. See how the other half live. So
Yeah.
I got to say, Lille.
Be honest, like I don't know if you go to a lot of rugby around. Like, what are the rugby crowd like? Rugby people.
They're all right. I mean, you can have a laugh and a joke, and the thing I like is sort of you can take your beer to the seat with you. Everyone sort of mingles in with each other. You're all sort of in different. There's no segregation. Everybody just sort of potters around and whatever. Bit of singing, bit of jollity. It's good. It's a good crack. I got to be honest. It's a good laugh.
Yeah, nice to go to any sport on occasion. Anyway, really, isn't it? It's always nice to do something a little outside the box, as it were.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, obviously, look, we let's get back to West Ham then. Obviously, got through in the cup midweek. Tricky little tie up in Lincoln, and obviously, just a West Ham B team essentially. Maybe with the exception of Safal or of Suchek, and got the job done. Now it wasn't pretty, wasn't nice, but I was saying earlier, I think you were watching when I said, look, I don't really care in these games because often when you make so many changes to a team, it can be a little bit disjointed, and they are tricky ties. And in these games, I'm just happy to get the job done and get out of there and make sure your name's in the pot.
Yeah, I mean that's really the bottom line, isn't it, Tom? It is about getting through. But I was quite disappointed that we didn't see at least one of our prospective academy prospects getting a run out from the off. I got to be honest. If we'd have sort of given Mabama a go, I'm not saying we should have played a whole back line like we did in the game against Zagreb 2 seasons ago. Where it was basically an entire backline composed of youth team players, but that was for a very specific reason. I'd have been quite happy though if Moyes had have sort of risked it and just sort of said, "I tell you what, I'm gonna give Skulls a go, or I'm gonna give Mabama a go." I got to be honest, the player that I would have liked to have seen more than anyone actually was George Earthy, because a couple of days earlier he signed a new pro contract, 3 years, and I thought, do you know what? He's a player that last season when I watched him play for the 18s really impressed me. He really does look a talent, a prospect. Now, will he cut it in the Premier League? Well, there's only really one way you're going to find out. And all right, Lincoln are not a Premier League team, but that would have been an ideal opportunity for him. Give him a start. And, he's not really any under pressure sort of thing to sort of absolutely rip them to shreds. But if he could sort of like step up to the mark and maybe sort of give David Moyes a little bit of a hint that, listen, I'm on the progression. I'm someone that you can trust. I'm someone that you could utilize. I think that would have been a great thing. But of course, David Moyes is David Moyes. We all know that him and youth players, they're not particularly they're not particularly aligned unless they're a Wayne Rooney, which, other than him, it's like
even then, Wayne Rooney's on record. I mean, David Moyes' hand had to be forced really to play Rooney, and this was like this was a wonder kid, and Moyes had to have his hand forced really to play. He didn't even want to play Rooney, so this is maybe my biggest criticism of David Moyes. I think he has absolutely no interest in our youth team players. Like none.
I've just seen Usual Suspects comments about my ear rolls.
Oh,
I do apologise.
But this is the thing that actually really annoyed me about that lineup. Like I said, not a single one on the pitch. And I couldn't understand why. Like you, I thought this was a perfect opportunity to. I'm not saying you put the whole team full of them out,
one or two.
but surely you could fit 2 or 3 in there in the 11. Like, because I looked at it this way. I mean, our under 21s beat Bristol Rovers in the EFL Cup away from home. And Lincoln drew with Bristol Rovers. They played them already. They drew with them in the league. Our under 21s beat them, and that was a full under 21 team. All under 21s beat Bristol Rovers away. So I mean, there was absolutely no reason that you couldn't give a run out. I mean, particularly you look at Ollie Scarles, you give him, a run at left back, particularly with the Cresswell situation. Cresswell just looks a shadow of the player he used to be.
Yeah.
Emerson is the far and away our number one left back right now. But it seems to me that Scarles, I would think, if he could have been given a game there, been given 90 minutes, and had played really well, could have actually staked a little bit of a claim to say, maybe I'm better than Cresswell right now. Maybe I'm a better option for you to have as the understudy to Emerson. Maybe I'm ready for this. And like I say, George Earthy, I thought he did really well, I thought, out in Bucharest last season. When he came out, when I've seen him come on Earthy, I mean, he looks really lively. And he was played on the left, and I thought he did really well out there. Looked really lively. And especially when you see Ben Rama hasn't been pulling up any trees.
Yeah.
So I was really disappointed, that none of those. I mean, George Marshall. I mean, he's been absolutely fucking banging in goals all over the place for the under 21s. I think, could you not give him a run out? I mean, instead of bringing on Danny Ings.
Yeah, Gideon Kodji was another one that could have been
Yeah.
a contender. Patrick Kelly. You've got Regan Clayton. You've got Lewis Orford. You've got all these players that last season absolutely swept virtually all before them. All right, they didn't get past Man City in the North-South Premier League playoff, but there's no shame in that. They obviously won the Southern title. They won the FA Youth Cup, which I would actually argue, given its longevity, its prestige, is actually a sort of like a slightly more prestigious trophy, in my opinion, the FA Youth Cup, than the Premier League for the youth players. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
give these players a go.
Yeah, I just don't look. I'm just resigned to the fact that youth players just have got absolutely no chance under David Moyes. What are we bringing on Danny Ings? What are you going to learn? Bringing on Danny Ings?
I think the only reason he possibly does it is because Danny Ings is being paid an absolute fortune and he's not kicking a ball. So I think in David Moyes' world, he's thinking that, well, I've basically got to give him a run out because otherwise I'm paying this geezer 120k a week, and he's not offering any value whatsoever. At least if I sort of start him in the sort of like the so-called smaller games, if you will, against the smaller oppositions, bring him on in the certain games where it's applicable.
Yeah, but I think he also
there's no risk in that, is there?
Yeah, no, and I think he also feels like it's an opportunity for him to just give the fringe players a run out who aren't really going to get a look in the Premier League, and probably not too much of a look in Europe either. And so he feels like, well, at least I can play him in this one and maybe keep him happy that they've got a game. Unfortunately, it just leaves our youth team players completely out in the cold, and it's disappointing too because Moyes can talk out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, he was really talking up, Mubama.
Yeah.
In the summer, saying, "Oh, I feel like he has an important role, part to play in the squad this coming season." And so far, it's been zilch. Zilch. And what role exactly is it? I mean,
water carrier.
Yeah, I mean,
boy.
You may as well just loan him out and just let him play a season somewhere.
Massively.
Championship or League One. I'm sure there's a team that would like to, they're stretched for money and would love a loan deal for someone like Mubama who shows some promise, and at least then he's playing football and he's playing big boy football, and that'll improve him and bring him on a bit. So if you're not going to use him, and don't spout shit that he's got some kind of a important role to play in the first team squad in the coming season. Clearly, he doesn't. Like, the only time I've ever seen David Moyes play any youth players is in Dead Rubbers.
Yeah.
Where it gives him the opportunity to rest players that he just doesn't want to play or doesn't want to have to travel to somewhere like Bucharest. And so he chucks in, 3 or 4 youngsters, and because it doesn't matter if we lose anyway, it's a dead rubber game, which is what he did in Bucharest. It was the final game of the group. We'd already topped the group. There was no danger, and so he gave him a little run out as if to say, oh, see, look, I'll play youth team players.
And the same against Zagreb the year earlier, exactly the same situation. Last game of the group stage, we'd already qualified. It was an irrelevant fixture, and he put out, like I say, a back four composed of entirely academy players, and brought some on from the bench, lost 1-0, whatever. But, and like you say, it's like you can sort of, if someone wants to point at that and go, oh, look, Moyes does give youth players a chance. It's like there's a world of difference between giving a youth player an opportunity in a fixture that means something against a fixture that is a complete fucking irrelevance.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was still good game time for the youth team players in Zagreb and in Bucharest.
Agreed.
But you have to follow it up. Yeah, I mean,
you're just playing lip service to it, aren't you?
Yeah, he's just playing lip service. He's using them in dead rubbers, and that's all he uses them in. You will not see another youth team player on the pitch for West Ham until such time as we have another dead rubber game, which can only happen in the group stage of the Europa League. If we're already top of the table by the 6th game, unfortunately, I don't think that might be the case. I think we might still have something to play for in that final game. And so the question is, like, when are we ever going to see him? And unfortunately, I think the answer under David Moyes is we're not. And particularly, as we cleared out the under-21s from last season to make room for the under-18s to come through into the 21s this year.
Yeah.
Because, Mark Noble as well has been waxing lyrical about what a very, very talented group this is. But the question becomes then, after this season, when they've played a season in the under-21s, what next? I mean, we're going to lose. We're going to lose these players. They're just going to say, "Look, there's no point in being here." So it's essentially, they're not going to get a chance.
If you were, and I've asked this question over on the West Ham Massive, subscribe if you haven't. Anyway, I had to get that in. Do forgive me, but no, I mean, if you were a young, aspiring London, Essex footballer or somewhere in the metropolis sort of area, and you weren't necessarily a West Ham fan, right? So say Declan Rice again, or number 41 as whatever. And you looked at the current setup, you was a young aspiring, and the parents and all the rest of it. Why would you sign for West Ham? Unless you're a mad keen hammer, you're just not going to do it. Because you've got to take one look at the manager and the track record and just go, there's just no point, because nobody makes the fucking breakthrough with this geezer.
No. I mean, he's been here long enough now, and, not a single player has done it. I mean, he didn't give a debut to Rice. He didn't give a debut to Johnson.
Nope.
Mubama, like I said, he's given kind of little cameo roles to here and there when it suits him. But he, even with Mubama, who's probably the closest that's come to maybe becoming a full-time member of the first team squad, even he can't get in ahead of fucking Danny Ings. And I mean, he still can't get a chance. And despite the fact he's the closest player we actually have at the club right now to Antonio.
Agreed.
He looks like the one player we have who might be able to do some of the things Antonio does. And he still can't get a game. And he's the kind of player you would think would have the best chance. And if he can't do it, then there's no chance for anyone, really. And I don't know. I feel like something's got to give, because we can't go on like this. I mean, clearly the academy is doing good things. We're producing some very promising youngsters. Obviously, not all of them will make it, but we're producing enough good youngsters, it seems, certainly with this current crop of under-21s that we've got now this season, that you should certainly be looking at a small handful of those and taking a much closer look at them and saying, all right, let's see what this one's got. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got. Like I said, the likes of Scarles, who looks a cracking young player. Freddie Potts, I mean, I thought was looking really promising, very promising. He's gone out.
Did you see the goal he scored?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh, you've got to have a look for that, mate. Oh my God, what technique! It was at the Valley, which is obviously not far from where I live.
Yeah.
And the ball just come in, and the technique, the execution of the volley was just like, fucking hell. That was honestly, go and find it, Tom. Seriously, you will go, oh, this kid's decent, you know. Yeah, he's
yeah.
good. He's
Like I don't mind
player.
him going out on loan. Like I said, it can be very good.
Absolutely.
You know, if they're playing week in, week out, you know, grown man football, a season out on loan can do them the world of good. I don't mind that Freddie Potts is going out on loan, but the problem for me is, let's say he goes out on loan, he's gone out on loan this season. So let's say he does really well and has a really good season. We're still in the same position with him next season. You know, I don't believe that he would come back after a really good season and then suddenly he's in Moyes' plans. I think you know,
Moyes is the manager.
he'll either be sent back out on loan again for another season, or he'll just be popped straight back into the fucking under-21s, which is a waste of his time.
Do you think Moyes is the manager next season?
Yeah,
He's extending his deal.
I think they won't do it. I think until the end of the season or close to it. But I actually now look. Obviously, it'll depend on how things are going. Look, the wheels could come off. We don't know, but right now, like given that we've had a good start to the season, so if we have a half decent season, like if we have a very good run in the Europa League, if we're hovering in around the top 10 of the Premier League, that for me, I think that would probably be enough to convince Sullivan to give him another deal. I do. I mean, look, Sullivan didn't sack him last season. If we have a half decent season, even though we could let him go, it wouldn't cost us anything to let him go. I'm not convinced.
If you were David Sullivan, Tom, a little bit of role play. If you were David Sullivan, and what would be the trigger point between you? Where would be the dividing line between I'm not going to offer him a contract, thanks very much, Mr. Moyes, and off you go, and what's the trigger point for sort of saying, actually, you've had a decent season, here's another 3-year deal or whatever?
I won't answer for myself because I'm not sure there would be any circumstances under which I'd give him a new deal personally.
He wins the Europa League?
Yeah, even then, I'd let him walk. I'm not joking.
Really?
Like, even then, yeah. And I know some people say that's crazy, but for me, the two things that I just cannot abide is the style of play. I hate the way we play football. It's horrible to watch. I don't enjoy it. It's not entertaining. I just hate the way we play football. I'm obviously always very happy when we win. I never want to see us lose. But I just don't enjoy watching us play. I think it's kind of poverty football. I think, you know, the 11 players that we can put on the pitch are much better than that. I don't think we have to play that way to get results. I just hate the way he sets up. It's completely goes against my whole philosophy of the game. And you know, well, I'm old enough. Like I've watched Christ knows how many West Ham games since I was a kid, and I just want to be entertained. You know what I mean? I know we're not going to win trophies every year. It's going to be few and far between that we win trophies. I'm pretty happy if we're in the Premier League and we're doing okay and getting our few wins every season, staying in the Premier League and not in a relegation battle. And if we're playing a really nice brand of football, which is exciting and attacking, then I'm pretty happy to be entertained, you know? And at the moment, I'm just not entertained. There's just nothing about the way we play that's exciting to me, and I could live with this if we had Sheffield United's team. You know what I mean? Like if we just didn't have very good players, then I'd be saying,
Yeah.
okay, look, David Moyes has to cut his cloth accordingly. He's got to, get numbers behind the ball, keep it tight, and see if we can get something on the counter or from a set piece. I could live with it because I say, okay, yeah, that's probably our best shot at having a half decent season. But you look at the players that we've got, like we shouldn't be playing like that. I mean, home to Man City, even then, I don't particularly like it. But in those games, you can say, okay, look, they're the best team in the world, and if we try to go toe to toe with them, maybe it would end badly. I'd still like to see us more of a goal than we did, but for most games that we play, we're at least going to be able to match the team we're playing for talent. And in a lot of games, we probably have more talent than them. So this style of play just really irks me. I hate it, to be honest. So the sooner he goes, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Regardless of the fact he won the conference. No one's ever going to tell me that was like a really hard competition to win. I don't think it was, with the talent that we had. A lot of the teams we played were let's say average, to be kind. I think a lot of them were below average. I think we got quite nice draws. I mean,
You didn't rate AEK Larnaca, Tom?
No.
Come on, one of the finest teams in Cyprus.
Yeah.
I went to the away game of that one.
Yeah.
I was there. It was quite funny, actually, because I think it was February time from memory, and I went to Larnaca. I think it was about 25 degrees in the shade. I phoned my wife up. I said, "How's it there?" She said, "It's snowing." I was like, "Oh well, never mind. I'm off to the bar, sweetheart. See you later."
Yeah.
Get your priorities right. So, do you know what I'd like to know, though, Tom? Just sort of in all seriousness, and I agree with you that the football does sort of. There are times when I'm sort of like, "Oh Jesus," I just want to pull my eyeballs out. I really would be interested to know, though, how was the club sold to certain players like Mohamed Kudus, for example? How on earth were they given reassurance to come to West Ham, aside from, oh, we've just won a European trophy? It's like, okay, I know that, but also surely these players must look at the style of football, the way we've played under David Moyes' tenure, and they must look at it and go, not too sure that's a bit of me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but look, obviously it's difficult to know. We don't know what was said exactly. Tim Stuyton apparently is very persuasive. I think, despite the style of play, I think there's still, for a player like Kudus, I think there's still a lot to recommend a club like West Ham, outside of the style of play. Obviously, we're a Premier League club, and it's the biggest shop window in world football. If you can come to the Premier League and perform brilliantly, your next move is very likely to a top club. So I think career progression comes into it.
Yeah.
It's okay, ripping up at Ajax in Eredivisie. It's a whole other thing to come and do it in the Premier League. You really get noticed. I think that's number one. Obviously, I'd imagine the wages were quite attractive. We can offer a very good wage. He was also apparently told that he would be playing, essentially, that he would play, that he wasn't coming here to sit on the bench. And so, yeah, I think those were probably the major factors. Obviously, our profile has been raised. Semi-final of the Europa League, followed by winning the conference. He'll have noticed us last season. A lot of players will have. I think a lot more players now know who West Ham are than previously. So I think that all factored into it, and I think it probably overrid the style of play. it probably would have been put to him, look, we use a low block and we hit fast on the counter attack. And you're the kind of player that can really hurt teams, on the counter attack. And that he probably thought, okay, we're defensive minded team, but I'm an attacking player, so I'll be at the other end of it. I'll be the one who gets the out ball and who can run at defenses and maybe score some goals, get some assists and stuff. So, if he was a midfielder, he may have felt a bit different about it. And if he was attacking midfielder or something, in the center, he might have thought, "Oh, I don't want to spend that much time defending." But I think the fact he's plays more kind of in the attacking role in the front three, he probably felt like, well, I'll be in the attacking prong anyway, so the ball will be getting popped out to me on the counter. So I think those are probably all factors in why he was willing to join West Ham. So even though a lot of us may not like the style of play, it probably doesn't put players off as much as we think when they're signing. I think
probably going to Rush Green was a bit of a shock, though, wouldn't you think? For Alvarez and Kudus, because Ajax, I'd imagine, have got a pretty good setup as far as their training facilities are concerned.
Yeah.
And then they turn up at Rush Green. They must have gone, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I know. Probably a lot of players do. I don't know. They turn up there and go, I was expecting something a bit more.
I reckon that they don't show them it. I reckon they wait until they've signed the players' contracts and then they go, oh, by the way, this is where you'll be working virtually every day.
Yeah, they show them the big stadium and, and stuff. And
The Meccano set. Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But look, I think Premier League teams in general have a lot of pull, I mean, even, you see kind of, even like mid-table Premier League teams now can actually sign like very, very good footballers, like players who are kind of sought after players, can be brought to the Premier League now. I mean, it's just has so much pull, and it's, like I say, it's the biggest shop window in the world. And even if Kudus sees us as a stepping stone, that's fine with me. I don't care. You know what? It doesn't hurt my pride. You know what I mean? It's like, I think these are exactly the kind of players that we should sign. Young, talented players who are ambitious. And if they see West Ham as a stepping stone to getting a move to a major club, I've got no beef with that. If they come here motivated, if they're very talented and they're motivated, I mean, that's what you want, right? You want talented, motivated players who are ambitious, because they're the players. I mean, look what Paqueta's doing. Yeah. Do I care if Paqueta's playing the way he is because he really wants to get that big move? Not particularly, because we'll get big money for him, and while he's here, we'll get big performances.
Exactly.
And that helps us on both ends.
That's good business.
While he's here, we get a brilliant midfielder, world-class midfielder. And then when he leaves, we get 100+ million for him.
Absolutely.
Which I think is what's going to happen. And so it's win-win to me. So
I'm on board with that.
Even if Man City come back in from next summer and they sign him and we get 100 whatever million, it's like, okay, it's a pity we've lost him because he's such a brilliant player, but now we've got another 100 million. And now who's next up? Because Tim Steidten will find him.
Yeah, no, listen, I got no problem. I think it's good business sense if we can sort of like move players on at a profit. I mean, how long have we been moaning about bringing big money players in, and when we move them on, we've got to take a big financial hit on them? The likes of Felipe Anderson, the likes of Sebastian Aller, even Vlasic as well. We've moved these players on, and we've all bemoaned the fact that we've moved them on at a loss. Well, I've got no problem providing if you bring a player in, they absolutely tear the place down. Obviously, as a result of that, their value goes up, and they then moved on, and we get a profit, and we can then do like what we've done with the Rice money. And I maintain we're on the basis of 6 Premier League games, which is a small sample size. I agree, but on the basis of what I've seen, I'm looking and going, yeah, this compared to where we've been the last 2 seasons stylistically in terms of our attributes from central mid, it's night and day. We're a far better team now. We've done some fantastic business getting in Alvarez, getting in Ward-Prowse, which has
Yeah.
then unlocked and rejuvenated Thomas Souček and made him look more like the player that he was 2-3 years ago. I think we've done great business, and so if we can carry on in that vein, move players on, get a good amount of service out of them, scoring plenty of goals, getting plenty of assists, or keeping clean sheets, whatever it may be, and then they come to a point where they've attracted the attention of the Man Uniteds, the Man Cities, the Arsenals, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, whoever, and they go and we've doubled our money, whatever. Great, fantastic, bring it on. Just so long as we bring in good quality replacements and we can keep sort of doing that. I mean, look at Brighton have done it for years. Brentford have done it for years. That's what they do. That's their model. They bring in players cheap, not cheap, but a relatively sort of low, modest cost relatively to Premier League football, and then they move them on at a profit. They've done it for donkey's years, and I think we need to look. Like I say, for years it frustrated the life out of me that we did the complete opposite. We'd bring them in on big money, move them on 18 months or so later, and go, well, that cost us a barrel load of fucking cash, didn't it? And it's like, no, let's do the other, shall we? Let's try and make a few bob on it.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely the way to go. And actually, while we're on the subject, I was just thinking, as you were speaking there, are you getting a little bit worried, as I am, I must admit, at Bowen's contract situation? Because if he doesn't sign on the dotted line, I mean, next summer we're going to have to think long and hard about if and when we sell him, because am I right? Has he got like 2 years left on his contract?
Do you know what? I'll tell you what.
I
I'll
don't know
have
if
a
you
look.
have a look, because I don't know if it's 2 or 3. Next summer, just have a look, Gatey. What's going to be left on Bowen's contract next summer? Because it is starting to run down.
See, what needs to happen, I reckon, that Danny Dyer, senior Danny Dyer, I reckon Christmas dinner, they're going to be sitting around the table, and I reckon he's going to have a little chat with him. He's going to give him a little bit of Christmas sherry. He's going to, ply him with some alcohol, and I reckon he's going to sort of do a little bit of sort of like due diligence and all the rest of it, and then he'll produce this piece of paper and just say, by the way, Jared, just could you just sort of give us a signature there, sort of thing. Unbeknownst to him, it will be a contract that David Moyes has sort of given him, and oh look, he's signed a new contract. Contract expires June 30th, 2025.
Okay, so next summer is the summer of 24. So he's going to have 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah.
And that puts us in a tricky spot.
Yeah.
Because you're getting to crunch time now. Like he has got to sign a new contract by next summer. And
apparently I sound like Stuart Pearce. Do I really? I've never noticed that.
No, I haven't either myself, to be honest. But
I saw someone sort of put Paul Flowery, put your guest tonight sounds just like Stuart Pearce. I don't play football like him, let me tell you, Paul. Fucking hell. And Sweppo's saying the same thing. I can't say I've ever noticed it. I can't say anybody's ever sort of said that I sound like him, but I'll take that as a compliment. Do us a favour, make sure you subscribe to West Ham Massive. Cheers.
Yeah, but so it's going to come to crunch time by next summer. If he doesn't sign on dotted line, we've got to get him signed up at the latest at the end of this season, because with a year left in his contract, if he's not going to sign, we're going to have to sell him. You have to. With a year left in the contract, you got to get as much money as you can from him at that point.
Thing is, with a year left on his deal, Tom, if we get to the summer and he's only got 12 months left, you're not going to get full market value for him, are you? I mean, let's be honest. A fit and firing Jared Bowen, how much would he fetch if he had like 2 years on his deal? You'd probably be looking at 80. In my opinion, I think 80, not a problem.
It would be in that ballpark, yeah.
With a year left.
Yeah. With a year left, I mean, you're going to have to take 50 million for him.
Probably less.
40.
Yeah, I reckon you're probably somewhere between 30 and 40 you're probably looking at. Because
With a year,
let's be honest, the leverage that a club has got in that situation, the selling club, the leverage that club has got is virtually zero. All the leverage then goes to the club that's buying, and they can just lowball you because they know that in 12 months you're losing him for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, particularly if Bowen wants to move to that club and says to the club, look, I want to make this move. Let's say Klopp comes in for him at 40 million. You're in a bind.
Yeah.
So, the club's got to be very, very careful here. Now, I obviously, look, I don't know the inner workings here or what conversations have been had. Maybe the club already know that Bowen's going to sign, that they're very close, that he's happy to sign a new deal. They're very close. They're close to where they both are happy to be at with the deal, and maybe this is much ado about nothing. But for someone like me who has no clue what the hell's going on, all I know is that he has not signed a new contract yet. And we got to fucking get this done like sharpish. So that if the worst comes to the worst, and it does come to the point where we're going to lose him, at least we can demand top dollar for him. So I'm a little concerned about that one. So, I'm going to keep an eye on it.
I've just thought of something, and it's Andrew that was the trigger point for this thought popping into my head. He just put in that comment there about Bowen said Moyes doesn't get the respect he deserves for what he's done at West Ham, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Yeah, that to me is nothing to do with that. That to me is nothing to do with whether or not he's going to sign a new contract.
Well, no, it might be. Is it? And I'm just throwing a hypothetical out here, Tom, so bear with me. Is it possible that Jared Bowen is holding off on signing a contract because he wants to see what happens with David Moyes?
Anything's possible. I really don't know. It's the only honest answer I can give. I just don't know. It's possible, but the issue I have with this, when he says it doesn't sound like a player that doesn't want to sign, I don't think one means the other. I don't think him coming out and saying Moyes doesn't get the respect he deserves for what he's done. He probably has a very good relationship. And Moyes plays him every week, so you know what I mean. And he's one of our main men. He's one of our few players that gets to attack a lot. Yeah. So he scores his goals, he gets his assists. So he probably is pretty happy, with Moyes and pretty happy at the club. But I also believe he is ambitious. And there has been a lot of rumblings that Klopp is quite a fan. Mo Salah probably will not be at Liverpool next season, in my opinion.
I think it would be up to Saudi, wouldn't he?
So if he's already eyeing up Bowen, and Bowen already has an inkling that Klopp is eyeing him up, if Bowen has an inkling that he might be a Liverpool target next summer, would you sign a new contract? Would it be in your best interest right now? Because then West Ham can play hardball with Liverpool on the price, and Liverpool might say, it's too rich for us, we're out. Whereas if you've got a year in your contract, it makes it far more likely that Liverpool would be able to get a deal done with West Ham to get you signed around the 40, 45, even maybe 50 million. Whereas if he signs a new contract, West Ham are coming in saying, no, we want 80 or 85 million, whatever it is, for Jared Bowen. And then Liverpool might think, no, we'll move on from it. So I think we've got to be very careful here because we don't know what's going to happen there. I suspect Liverpool will have Bowen as one of their major targets for next season. I really do.
Thank you, Sweppo.
So I'm a bit worried. Yeah, good man, Sweppo.
We're up to 95.
Wow. See, I told
you. I don't think we're going to challenge sort of like West Ham Network or any of the other big boys.
No, but see, it's who you know, not what you know, Gatesy. See,
this is true.
Hop very, on the very true. And all of a sudden, see.
I'm basically
to be fair, yeah. To be fair, I think it's maybe a lot of them just weren't aware that you had this new channel, and obviously would probably had subscribed previously to you and have known you for a while, so they're happy to jump in. But yeah, everybody go subscribe. You'll always get good content with Gatesy.
Wow. occasionally.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we need to be very careful with the Bowen situation. I'm a little worried. I won't lie. I'm a little bit worried. But just before we go, talk obviously about the game this weekend. Sheffield United at home. There's a bit of pressure on this one. This feels like a game that we kind of have to go and win, given that we've had 3-1 losses to Man City and Liverpool respectively. Not shock results by any means, and results in and of themselves that don't heap any real kind of pressure on Moyes. But losing to Man City and Liverpool, you can kind of get away with. But I think what he can't get away with is not winning this game tomorrow, given that we've had such a good start to the season. We've got much better players than Sheffield United. We're at home, and Sheffield United got absolutely stuffed at Bramall Lane by Newcastle last weekend to 8-0. I think 7 different goal scorers. There's going to be nowhere to hide really tomorrow, is there, for David Moyes and the players? I mean, like they have to win this game, or they're going to face a lot of criticism.
I think that, and I don't. I said this. We did our match preview for the Sheffield United game about 3 hours ago, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. Any team can beat any other team on their day in the Premier League. That's the beauty of the league. But we are playing at home against one of the weakest teams in the Premier League. And as you say, they have been beaten 8-0 in their last match. The one thing I do wonder, do you think that getting smashed like that at home will actually make things in a funny sort of way a bit more difficult for us than would otherwise have been the case? Because obviously they're now going to be the wounded animal. They're now going to be really sort of like hurt, and they know that they owe their fans, who they let down badly in that match, they owe their fans.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's like a wounded, toothless, clawless cat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be wounded and it can be mad, but what's it going to do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't accept excuses, and I certainly wouldn't say, because they got hammered at home, now they're going to look for a response.
Needs to be convincing for
we've
me.
We've virtually got like a better player in every position on the pitch. You know, I mean, I wouldn't accept any excuse. You know, Moyes will probably talk about that in the build-up and say, they're a wounded animal. And so, you know.
Do you think he might play Kudus or Bowen up top and give Antonio the night off? I wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
I think this is the ideal game to do it, to be honest, Tom.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do it, you could do it in this game.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we don't need a low block at home to Sheffield United. I mean, there's no excuse for playing a low block at home to Sheffield United. We've got to get on the front foot in this game.
Yep.
And it means you can play a different type of forward. Not Danny Ings, but a different type of forward. So absolutely, in this game, you could put Bowen up top, give Antonio a rest. He probably needs one. He'll be there as a sub if you need him.
Yeah.
You want to bring him on at some point. Chuck Bowen up top, put Kudus out on the right there, and you can choose then between Benny and Cornet. It's going to be Benny, or actually probably Paqueta.
I was going to say Paqueta's been out on the left, hasn't he?
On that left-hand side. It's still astonishing to me that we have a world-class central midfielder who has to be pushed out to the left-hand side to accommodate Thomas Suchek. I know he's been playing better this season, but it still just blows my fucking mind. But anyway, it is as it is. Because I think Paqueta will still play a lot centrally anyway. Regardless,
I was going to say he's going to drift inside, isn't he? Which is then going to give Emerson the room to come up the left flank and get forwards.
Yeah. So Paqueta doesn't like it out there anyway. He won't stay out there.
No.
You'll still see Paqueta playing in around the middle of the field, regardless of where he's been positioned. So but Emerson's good enough to get down that flank and provide that width. But yeah, I'd actually like to see that. I think Kudus, this is the kind of game as well that will really help to bring Kudus on against, like I say, one of the weaker sides in the Premier League at home. No excuse for sitting back in a low block against this lot. We should have the majority of the possession in this game. But because I think Sheffield United they're not going to come out and kind of try and go toe to toe with us. I don't believe, especially after the trimming they got last week. I mean, they're not going to want to leave themselves open at the back against us. They'll feel that, they do that against us, that we've got the players like Newcastle do who can really damage them. So I think they're going to be cagey. I think they're going to try and keep it tight. I think it's going to be much like the Luton game for me, where they're going to be quite happy for us to have the ball most of the time. They're going to try and keep it tight and try to keep that. And we can struggle a little bit with that. So I think we need to get kind of clever, skillful players in those attacking positions. So like I say, the likes of Kudus, I think, can really help us here. A player who can go past people, who's got real trickery, quick feet, who can open things up a bit for us.
Draw a few fouls, few free kicks.
Yes, draw some fouls. Maybe,
yeah.
Pull some people out of position. You skip past one or two people, all of a sudden, like you're pulling other people completely out of position. They're having to come over and cover, and now all of a sudden, like they're scrambling at the back, and you're creating holes. So I think it would make a lot of sense, and I would hope to see that. And it's not anything against Antonio. He's been, since he came here. I'm a big fan of Antonio. I think overall, I think since he came here, he's been a great signing. I really like Antonio. As frustrating as he can be at times.
Yep.
So this isn't an anti-Antonio thing, but I think for this game, I think it would be wise actually to give him a rest, chuck Bowen up there, get Kudus on in that front three. Like of Kudus, Bowen, and Paqueta. Plus you got the runner from midfield, and your Souček obviously will come from deep. Even Ward-Prowse will be able to play further up the pitch because they will sit back a lot, so he'll be able to pull some strings. I think that would be wise. And I think this is a game that we really have to win. And so the question is, optimistic? You think we'll get it done?
I think we have to be. We have to be. We're playing, like I say, we're playing at home against one of the weakest teams. They've just got absolutely rogered, and we should be going it with nothing, no expectation less than getting 3 points, and convincingly, not a scrappy fucking bore fest of a 1-0 win. I want to see my team go at this lot, put them firmly in the bottom 3, continue their nightmare run that they're on. Just absolutely. Saying we're going to be having the majority of the possession. I agree. The only thing is that I've always sort of said that possession without penetration is completely pointless. What I want to see us doing with that possession is being effective in creating opportunities, getting shots away on goal. I want their best player to be their goalkeeper, because their goalkeeper has been making saves and doing, he's the busiest player on the park. But irrespective of that we still come off winning 3-0, 4-0, whatever. And it is convincing. I want to see us really open up the taps on this lot. I want to see us playing some fast, frenetic, exciting, free-flowing football, the West Ham way.
Yeah, you know what I would actually do in this game? I agree. I think it is a must-win game, and I think we will win it. I think we've got much better players, and even if they play on the counter, I think we will find a way through. I would change formation a little bit. I don't think we need to be as defensive in this game.
No, and I agree with that. What Paul's just said there.
Exactly. I was going to say I would play 4-1-4-1. Flat back 4. I would have Alvarez sitting as the DM, and then ahead of him, you'd have, say, if you had, say, there's different ways you could do it. Depends if you want to get Suchik in the team or not. He's playing quite well, but if you were to go 4-1-4-1 with Alvarez as the DM, if you were to have, say, Paqueta on the left, Ward-Prowse and Suchek in the centre, Kudus on the right, Bowen up top.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
I would keep Suchek in actually for this game because I think, with them being quite defensive, I think, from those corners, from any free kicks that we win, from crosses, I think Suchek will be an important person to have in the box because he can create mayhem. He's a matchup nightmare even for centre backs. So I think I would go 4-1-4-1 for this one. I think a flat back four and Alvarez in front shielding, I think, should be more than enough at home to Sheffield United. The question, of course, is the back four. I would still have Areola in goal. Emerson obviously picks himself. I would drop. I don't like doing it. I would play Mavropanos.
I would as well.
Instead of Aguerd.
100% agree.
Alongside Zuma. I think Aguerd needs to be dropped because he's been error prone. Yes. And I think he needs to understand that you can't do that. You can't do that and keep your place. You've got to be really solid. You can't just switch off and have nightmare moments because it's cost us goals, and we can't have it. And now we've got Mavropanos, who's right there ready to take your shirt, and you might not get it back. Yeah. If he comes in and performs and doesn't have those errors, you won't get the shirt back. So you're going to have to be better, mate, if you want to play. Yeah. I think that needs to be the lesson.
And that's the mentality that drives standards, Tom. Yeah. If you sort of like keep having this perpetual mistakes being made, but don't worry, you can carry on with a shirt next week. What's the messaging you're sending out? Well, you're sending out the messaging to the incumbent wearer of the shirt that it doesn't really matter what you do, carry on, it's fine, I'll back you, which to a point I get, but then when it goes beyond sort of like that, sort of the line of like, I'm being loyal to you and now you're just being stubborn. Do you know what I mean? And then the messaging it sends to the players on the bench and sort of like further down the pecking order is that so what we're saying is that he can make a fucking mistake that costs us a goal, that costs us a game, and you're still playing him the following week. What's the fucking point of me being here? Do you know what I mean? The messaging that sends out is totally wrong. So you have to have this sort of the standards of the club need to be that if you are playing at a good level, then you keep your place, whatever, not a problem. But when you let your standards drop, and it's the same in any successful team, it's the same in sort of like business, whatever. When your standards start to slip, that's when you, right, okay, out the way, we'll get someone in that could do the job better than you're doing right now. Simple as that.
Yeah. Formation-wise, what would you do? What do you like for this game? Would you go two up top for once, or would you stick with one up?
Do you know what I'd do? I'd go 3-4-3. I really would. I'd love to try it. I'd love to sort of find a way of playing three at the back because they play three at the back. So okay, let's match them up and let's play three proper forwards.
All right, give us your 11 then.
Areola in goal. I'll go. Zuma's got to play. I think Mavropanos has got to play, and I think I would have the third centre back being Ogbonna. I'd bring Ogbonna in for this one. And I'd have
despite the howler.
Despite that howler, I mean that was very uncharacteristic. Let's be honest, very very uncharacteristic for him. This is not what I think
No,
I've already
obviously.
done. I've already done on the preview that we did on the West Ham Massive a little bit earlier. I've already done what I think we're going to see. But if I was lining up, this is me. I'd go back three: Ogbonna left, Zuma central, Mavropanos right. I'd go Emerson as a left wing back. Right wing back, I'd have as Kufau.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this. Is the one I was really interested in.
I think I'd go Kufau. I think he can
Because I
get
think
up and down.
the one position I haven't mentioned actually on my team is the right back.
Mm.
And I think for this game, if we were playing a better team, I'd stick with Sval. For this game, I would play Kehrer at right back.
Okay. Fair.
Because I think we're going to be doing a lot more attacking than defending. So, and I just think, Kehrer has a little bit more about him when we're pushing up on teams than. So, would you not be tempted, Kehrer at wing back, or are you happy with Safal?
No, I'd go Kufau. Yeah, not a problem. Central mid, Alvarez, no problem at all. Has to be James Ward-Prowse for his delivery. So that's the central midfield taken care of. My front three, I would go left. Actually, I'll go 3-4-1-2. 3-4-1-2. The floating player being Paqueta.
So it's a diamond midfield diamond.
It's just sort of like four across, and then the one sort of like a floating player behind the front two, if you will, in front of the midfield four, but behind the front two. So this player's got license to roam, go where you want, just throw hand grenades around. That's Lucas Paqueta's job. And then I'd have Bowen and Kudus buzzing around and causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah, obviously there's different ways you can go, but I think the theme here is that we're both would like to see something a bit more positive. Get on the front foot, get after them. Like you say, given what happened to them last week, I think if we can go 1-0 up, say inside the first 30 minutes, and if we've been on top and we're on the front foot and we score, they could crumble. I mean, it's one thing to lose at home to Newcastle. If they'd have lost that game, 2-0, it probably wouldn't affect them too much because they say, look, Newcastle are a Champions League team now and, a very tough game and they could probably brush that off a little bit. It's very, very difficult psychologically to brush off an 8-0 defeat no matter who you're playing.
Especially at home.
That's an absolute hammering.
Yeah.
So I think they probably are a little bit delicate at the moment. I think they're very vulnerable psychologically. So if we were to come out positive and really get at them and then score, then that their arseholes could drop out. That's my hope, and then you could see, their heads drop a bit and be like, oh shit, this is not going well here. Because last week
really
it's that kind of defeat has got to be damaging. It's got to be damaging.
We need to knock them on their back.
I think just going in the chat here, I think pretty much everybody agrees with you on Safal, which is fine. I get that. He's put a couple of assists in the last couple of games. So, like I said, it's not a hill I'm willing to die on. But it's kind of flip of the coin stuff for me. But I think actually probably 90% of people would have Safal in there, which is fair enough. So I think we both obviously feel like this is almost a home banker, right? So I think we are going to beat them. Do you think it'll be convincing, or do you think it'll be more like the Luton game where we just kind of get it done, as it were?
I hope it will be, but I just got this horrible feeling it might be quite an ugly game to watch. I've got a horrible feeling. I mean, I've got a horrible feeling, despite what I've said as what I'd like to see and all the rest of it. I've just got this horrible feeling that what we will actually see is something that doesn't resemble that one bit. I've got a horrible, horrible feeling that we're going to win it, but I got a funny feeling it'll be a bit of a dog with fleas type match. It'll probably be the last match on Match of the Day. It'll probably be a 1-0 win, and it'll be one of those ones where you'll go, yeah. I'm not too sure that was the showing of a team that's got a European trophy in their back pocket a few months ago against a team that's just come up and are struggling like fuck.
Yeah,
Hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I guess it's just the way we set up.
Hmm.
Moyes is always first and foremost keep it tight at the back and don't give away anything silly. So yeah, we don't tend to go out and just tear teams apart. Really, even bad teams, we just don't tend to do it. Like Luton, I think are going to finish absolutely rock bottom on very few points, and we still kind of made a little bit of hard work of that. Even though for large periods we were quite in control of that game. So it may be the same, I suspect, as well against Sheffield United, albeit we will get over the line. Give us a score prediction then before we go, Gatesy. What do you reckon? How's it going to finish?
I want, as I say, I want it to be a free-flowing game. I want us to go at them. I just, like I say, my head says that we'll probably grind out a 1-0 win. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's more like 3 or 4-0.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to score on us, if I'm honest. I think we'll actually keep a clean sheet, Gatesy. For once, we don't have enough clean sheets. But again, we're quite profligate up front. We don't score as many, maybe sometimes as we should against certain opponents. We should have been a lot more comfortable than we were against Luton. I mean, only for that penalty not being given, in injury time. I mean, that could have been 2-2, despite we were the better team. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-0. So I don't think there'll be any kind of late squeaky bum time like there was in the Luton game. I think once we hit injury time, I think we'll think, yeah, we've got this job done at 2-0. I don't see them scoring on us. And I think we will find a way through, even if it's, Ward-Prowse deliveries from corners again and Souček nods one in or Zuma heads one in or something like that. I do think we'll find a way through a couple of times. And I think, that would be enough for us to be relatively comfortable in the final minutes of the game. I just don't see a way for Sheffield United to get anything out of this. Even a draw in this game, I think we'd have to have a shocker. We really would. We'd have to have a really, really bad performance, even just to draw this game. But so I think we'll get it done, and another 3 points, and that will obviously still leave us in a healthy situation in the Premier League still, which is good. So okay, we're going to leave it there. Really appreciate you jumping on, Gatesy. Like I said,
appreciate the
always
invite,
happy
mate.
to have you on.
Thank you.
Let's say everybody get over to the West Ham Massive, get subscribed. There's going to be some great content on there. Gatesy and his brother. So and as always, look. Thanks to everybody for tuning in to watch this live. I know on a Friday night you'd all probably rather be doing something else, maybe something a bit more fun. But thanks.
The wives have all cleared off to bed. They've all gone to sleep.
Yeah.
Like mine, she's cleared off. It's like she's gone. Oh Christ.
Yeah, but as always, I really appreciate you guys, and also for anyone who's watching this back at a later time, appreciate you taking a look. If you can, please hit the like button. It just helps to push the video out to other West Ham fans and make it a bit more visible. So a few more people will maybe tune in and take a look. And as always, Gatesy, until next time.